Okay. Oh my fucking god. Hello, it's been a second. And my computer thinks that me doing sound effects is noise, so it's canceling it out. Super unkind. Well, Bleep. Today has been a long time coming, hasn't it? That's enough for the music right there. Today has been a long time coming. I wonder who has remembered and who has forgotten me. It's been a long time since we were on this channel. But we're back. We're here, and hopefully for a somewhat more consistent cadence. A lot has happened in the last couple of months. I essentially wasn't here for a while because of computer issues. We all have them, even people who proclaim all the hacking things and accessibility things. Yeah, my computer had a moment, and because of all the tinkering I do with these streams, as well as for these streams, a bunch of things got lost, and I had to recreate it, and it was a bitch. Then we did like one stream after that, the CSUN one, which was eye-opening, let's call it that. In the meantime, a lot of things have happened. I've been to the Dutch version of CSUN, as it were, the Dutch equivalent of it. 2 YouTube videos have come out since then. Excuse me. 2 videos, most notably one about the Stream Deck. I've been teasing that on this channel for a few a long time. Let's just be real. And another one about a reaction as a blind viewer to a blind protagonist within a blind game, which was a lot of fun. That was fun to make. So yeah, there's actually long form content that isn't streams, and it also isn't at the end of cyber content on this Viewpoint Unseen channel now. This is good. I already have a couple of other ones lined up, a couple of other ideas I want to do videos on. Like a number of them is mostly just of me talking, which means it's easy for me to edit with a limited amount of editing I can even do. And then after that, we might do some more fancy stuff. But yeah, cool stuff coming down the pipeline in the areas of hacking, in the areas of music, in the areas of tinkering with devices and gear, and of course hacking, which is what this channel was originally incepted for. Is that a word? Can you use that? Incipere. Sometimes the Latin meaning is a bit wider than the English one. This trips me up because I'm totally, you know, born in the year 0 BC, because that's totally a thing. Today, what I wanted to do was just to knock the rust off a bit. Is going to look at the new AI path at TryHackMe, because TryHackMe is TryHackMe. So I have to see if I still have to bitch at them or if they actually fixed stuff this time around. They had a raffle a couple of weeks ago for this new AI path. I very deliberately did not join that raffle because literally the only merch of note that you could win was 3 months at TryHackMe, and I find that very... What's the word? Tacky, I think, fits. Like, I find that a very tacky thing. If you're going to do a win, like some kind of prize draw or whatever, like, at least make things that aren't tooting your own horn. It's just a little... Ugh. I don't know. In the Netherlands, we have a product called WC Eend, which literally means WC duck, and it was a thing for the toilet. And a line that is often quoted in these kinds of situations is, the company is called WC Eend, so it would be, we who work at WC Eend heartily recommend WC Eend. Like, yeah, you would, wouldn't you? You're working there. You get money for saying that. I don't know. I don't feel it's appropriate. I'm I guess an old fossil shelling at the clouds. Yeah, that's that sounds like a good like hacker core metal band. Shell at the clouds. Very cool. In any case, let's go find if we can find this thing, even the TryHackMe situation, and from there we can see if it's any good. This is my default. You can still make it. Complete 2 rooms or quizzes today and grab your bronze spot. For what? Oh yeah, there's a league now. Yeah, there's all sorts of fancy streaks and like Duolingo-esque things, even more than there already was. Let's have a look. Now, the reason I'm doing the AI path is, one, I want something simple, and I think, honestly, that even TryHackMe can't really up a fucking AI path. We'll have to see. Maybe they'll surprise me yet. And they have in the past. There's a pop-up on my screen. Security Analyst Level 2, SAL2, has arrived. An advanced hands-on certification built around real SOC investigations. Demonstrate the skills required to analyze complex threats and operate at the next level. Next level.
Next level.
That's all I can say. But no, we will not be doing that, because last time I looked at your SOC simulator, it was a garbage fest. So, sorry, no. We'll look at the AI thing, and I might honestly try that other thing they do. What is it called? The other cert they do? The offensive one? I forget. PT1, I think it's called. That sounds fun to do, because it's like all AI driven, and I think you can still use your own VPN to attack the machines. So that might actually be a lot of fun, and it's entirely like I don't think there's any humans in the loop there. So that's one certification where I don't have to first do a 4-month traject of telling people that, yes, I am really blind. Yes, I do really need headphones. Yes, screen reader would be very nice. No, I cannot find the closest center to me because I'm not in the US. Yes, I would love to be able to just read the questions with my screen reader. No, I would rather not have a human reader do that for me. And yes, I would love to do it this century, which is essentially the standard Pearson VUE experience. Not great. It's honestly one of the main deterrents for me doing any kind of certification at this point. It's such a fucking ball ache to get anything done with these people. It eventually gets done. I had to do it last year, 2 years ago, for an English proficiency test for, what was it for? Oh yeah, for my South New Hampshire University access. I needed like a little paper that says, I speak English good. And I did get that certification, and it was a lot easier. The material was fine. It was very easy, but it just took me forever to set anything up. It was a mess, and I hear that that's mostly what we can expect now from these kinds of certs, proctored or unproctored. So if it's just AI, you don't need to do all these things where you have to like build your room into a medieval castle chamber to get anything done with them. Where's the paths? Career quiz, security analyst, penetration tester, security engineer. Follow us on, where's the friggin'... here. Paths. Okay, here we are. Where is the newest one? Do we have the AI? AI. I want to do the AI. I want to do the AI. Let's see. Do they have icons? There's the latest enrolled path. Yeah, that was the junior penetration tester. I'll do that by myself. Cybersecurity 101, security engineer, red teaming, CompTIA, web fundamentals. They're not really like hyping this up, are they? Where's the thing? DevSecOps, attacking and defending. It's AWS. We have something for application pen testing, defending Azure, advanced endpoint intrusion, web application red teaming. These are all very good. I just can't find it. Where's the AI one? Security engineer training. No. Am I gonna have to Google this thing? I can't fucking find it. Artificial. Yeah, no, it's not on this page. What the fuck? Did they take it down? Let me quickly find it. If it did, then I have to find something else. But AI learning path. TryHackMe. Google, help. Yeah, they were super proud of it. Here, AI security learning path. Here we are. Okay. So I found it on my other browser. Here we are. Okay, so it's literally it's not even in the main paths thing. It's literally tryhackme.com/AI security. I'm pretty sure that's not how the other paths work. So they're really proud of this one. Let's see. Let's go. Here we go in all its glory. AI security. Let's go. The AI security learning path, your new training ground. The AI threat landscape has expanded to. Get started with 25 hands-on lessons. Oh, God, are these not even labs? Covering the core AI attack surface on TryHackMe's purpose-built AI platform. Okay, let's go. Enroll now. Let's see how bad they did this time. Build a practical foundation in AI security. Learn how AI systems are built, where they break, and how to defend them. Okay. 5 modules. Hands-on labs, 26. Ah, you lied. You said 25 in the previous page. Okay. Estimate time to complete 20 hours and 16 minutes. That's a lot. That's a lot of hours. It's medium difficulty. Nah. I believe, I could be entirely wrong, but we pressed enroll now, and I have to press another enroll in path button here. We did it. All right, how many other things I have to shoot at? Oh, can I still say that in this current climate? I don't know. Resume learning. Wait, what? This path stands on its own. Feel free to start your AI security adventure here. That said, a basic level of cyber knowledge is converted in pre-security and cybersecurity 101 path would be encouraged. Let me go. Wait, where does this go? Am I still in the security? Yeah, okay. Ticketing event. I think that's done. I'm pretty sure that's done. Okay. So the first room in this is a ticketing event room, which I'm pretty sure the ticketing event's already done, but okay. Let's see. Complete rooms, earn tickets, and win. Join us in celebrating the release of the brand news of the security. Complete the 12 out of 25 rooms marked with a ticket to claim your ticket. The more tickets you collect, the more entries you get into the raffle, the more chances you have to win. Tickets promotion ends 22 of April. TryHackMe. I would like to inform you that it's currently the 1st of May. Actually, it's the 2nd of May. Why is this room still a thing? Go away. Ay. Join this room, I suppose. Check. Oh, hey, look, we did it. We finished the room. That was quick. All right, let's continue. What the heck? Oh, there's a dialogue that doesn't get focus. Yes, of course. Your skills are skyrocketing by clicking a button for an expired event. Oh my god! Thank you. I know I'm a genius. Thank you. Okay. Complete the task. Whatever. Fuck off. Start the next room. Oh, there it goes. Took a second to load there. What is this? AI/ML security threats. Oh boy, is this recycled from Advent of Cyber 2020? What was it? 3? 4? No, 4, I think. They had like a whole AI thing at the time. Well, let's see. Learn AI basics, key terms, and how it's used by both attackers and defenders. This is an easy room, 60 minutes. Takes 60 minutes. Okay, well, that sounds to me like loads of reading for Icinol. Okay, let's have a look. Introduzione. The world is changing. Industries are coming to terms with the reality they will be affected by Opens Dialogue Artificial Intelligence. Opens Dialogue AI. I'm saying it that way because that's literally what the button labels say. What do these actually do? If I press 1, does it open little definition? Oh, it does. Artificial intelligence is technology. Okay, I know the AI, thank you. That's actually kind of clever. And cybersecurity is no different. It should come as no surprise that artificial intelligence is at the heart of many discussions in the cybersecurity industry. A lot of ongoing research is being done to answer the questions to so many have had at this point in time. This room aims to answer these questions, okay? What is AI, machine learning? ML. How can it be used in our industry? How will it affect my role? How is AI being leveraged by attackers? This intro room aims to ease you into the world of AI so that you can leave with a better understanding of how this technology works and its implications for this industry and the world as a whole. Well, thank you. That's very lovely. Learning prerequisites. This room does not require any previous room or modules to be completed and is intended to be an entry point and learning about open data. However, knowledge of cybersecurity basics such as common attacks is assumed. Okay, learning objectives, very cool. Understand AI, ML, and their impact on the cybersecurity landscape. Boo, boo, boo. AI, ML, and their impact on the cybersecurity industry. I'm already annoyed by the amount of time I see AI with a little definition that indicates that I can click that so I can see a definition. Understand deep learning. Hey, why doesn't that have a definition? And neural networks and how they have made the applications of AI, which does have a definition, we see today possible. Very cool. Understand how adversaries use AI to enhance existing attacks and take advantage of AI model vulnerabilities. Understand the key role of AI will play in defending against AI. AI versus AI, fight. I'm ready to learn about AI ML security threats. Yeah! Before I continue, let me see if there's a dumb cookie thing or whatever. Yep. Oh, there's not. Oh, there is a thing at the bottom that says Open Hack Assist. I'm guessing that's one of their little AI things that they themselves have. I also saw that there is now a thing called Squawker, which is a VPN client, so you don't have to use OpenVPN anymore. I haven't tested how accessible that is yet, but I just grabbed the latest OpenVPN file. Task 2. The building blocks of AI. Okay, here we go. First thing we see is a drop down. What does the drop down do? Let's see. Press it. The drop down gives us share on LinkedIn, share on Twitter/X, share on Facebook, and copy link to, I guess, this specific task. Cute, don't need it. All right. We must empower our cybersecurity workforce to combat AI security threats. Knowledge is power, so we begin by arming you with the foundational knowledge of AI and ML. Let's start by discussing how we define artificial intelligence. Am I gonna just do the definitions like that all the time now? I don't know. Artificial intelligence refers to a machine or computer system that is able to carry out tasks that would otherwise require human reasoning, comprehension, problem solving, or creativity. It's a term that, truthfully, doesn't have just one simple definition due to the sheer scope of its application in today's society and its potential applications in the future. Still, we can use this definition to begin to understand what it is and where it started. This term and field dates back to the 1950s, when research began on the pursuit of having machines perform tasks by simulating human intelligence. However, this was still a niche term that was not widely known. Machine learning. The next significant advancement in the development of AI came with the emergence of machine learning, ML. ML is a subfield of AI that refers to a computer's ability to learn from data without being given instructions and is comparable to how the human brain learns. Over time, with more data and time, these algorithms will get better at accuracy and decisions. ML follows a structured life cycle to ensure the reliable development and deployment of models. This process begins with defining the problem, such as determining whether an email is spam. Next, data is collected, cleaned, and prepared through feature engineering, ensuring meaningful patterns are extracted while avoiding overfitting when a model's familiarity with the training data causes a failure to make generalizations on unseen or raw data. The model is then trained using a selected algorithm, followed by evaluation and tuning to optimize performance. Once refined, the model is deployed into a production environment for real-world use, such as classifying emails in real time. However, the lifecycle doesn't end there. Ongoing monitoring ensures the model maintains accuracy needed. Now, where have I seen that before? Oh, right, accessibility works the exact same way, but no one wants to hear that. Basically, that comparison is very apt. Basically, security, localization, accessibility, and I guess now data training for models, machine learning, algorithms and such, that never changes. That keeps going. You don't just check a box and you're done. That's not how accessibility works. That's not how anything really works. Anything in computing, be it development, localization, translation, security, accessibility, localization, I've already said that, counting things, also very hard, optimization, refactoring, squashing bugs, customer service, none of these things are just done at some point. They keep being a thing. And I'm sorry, management people, that's not going to change, not even with AI. Is that a clip? Can we short that? Is that something I can put on YouTube and get very many people very mad at me? Because that would be cool. Since models require continuous improvement, the machine learning lifecycle remains an iterative process. Again, like practically everything in computing. Oh well. Machine learning algorithms, ML. Algorithms are the mathematical methods used to learn patterns from data, while ML models are the trained outputs derived from these algorithms. Too much math, boring. These algorithms consist of three key components: a decision process, which makes predictions or classifications based on input data, an error function, which evaluates performance and provides feedback, and a model optimization process, which fine-tunes the algorithm to minimize errors and improve accuracy. This iterative process continues until model reaches a satisfactory performance level, which may change, so you have to do it again. ML algorithms fall into 4 main categories: supervised, unsupervised, semi-supervised, and reinforcement learning. Supervised learning relies on labeled data to train models for classification or regression tasks, such as predicting house prices or identifying spam emails. Unsupervised learning, on the other hand, works with unlabeled data to discover hidden patterns, often using clustering, association, or dimensionality reduction techniques. Too much math, boring. Semi-supervised learning combines elements of both, using a small portion of labeled data to guide the learning process. Finally, reinforcement learning mimics human learning by rewarding correct decisions and penalizing mistakes, allowing an agent to refine its actions over time to achieve the best outcome. Good computer! Good job, computer! Good job, computer! I think that's how it goes. That's how it goes, right? That's how you reward a computer? I don't know. Neural networks and deep learning. If you recall, the main objective of AI is to enable computers to behave like humans. One method that allows us to do this is through the use of neural networks. If you cast your mind back to high school biology, you may remember being taught how the human brain works. The human brain processes information using interconnected neurons, a type of cell responsible for transmitting communications between the body and brain, which communicate with each other using synapses. Synapses allow the brain to send electrical chemical signals from neuron to neuron. In other words, they are a connection. This network of neurons learns by adjusting the strengths of these connections when we experience something new, based on patterns we encounter. It's this behavior, probably British with a U, that is replicated in a neural network. The diagram below, probably no alt text, but we'll see, represents a neural network. Like the human brain processes sensory input, the input layer receives raw data, with the number of nodes depending on the data type. For example, 4x4 pixel image has 16 nodes. Each node represents a neuron, and the connections between them act as synapses. The hidden layers process and refine the input, bringing the network closer to a prediction. Each connection has a weight, determining its importance. For example, in email classification, the body text might have more weight than the subject line. I did a burp. An output layer then produces the final prediction. Consider a neural network tasked with recognizing a number from an image. Each hidden layer extracts different features. Early layers determine the edges and curves, while deeper layers combine these patterns to form a complete number. For example, lines may suggest a 1 or a 7, while curves increase the likelihood for a 3, 8, or 0. The output layer, with 10 nodes, sorry, did it wrong, 1 per digit, selects the most likely number based on the highest prediction value. This self-learning process mimics the human brain, and when a network has more than 3 layers, it is classified as a DL algorithm, hence the term deep learning. DL and ML can get confused sometimes, but we can now understand the key differences with what we've covered so far. Like ML, DL is concerned with receiving data as input and producing some kind of prediction or classification as output. DL can take in labeled datasets like the ones mentioned when covering supervised learning. But the key difference is that DL doesn't need that data to be labeled. A DL algorithm can take unlabeled, unstructured, raw data and determine its key features, which separate it from other categories. The important advantage here over ML is that the data doesn't need labeling. This means DL doesn't require human interaction, and in that way, is self-learning. It makes sense that DL is possible through the leveraging of neural networks because no human's intervention is needed. Larger datasets can be processed and can, therefore, be thought of as scalable ML. The idea of neural networks has been around for decades and decades, so how come the true potential of DL is only exploded over the last decade or so? This is largely due to the mass digitization of information in recent years. Suddenly, masses of information was available for learning algorithms, and so, with DL, started a new era of AI, in which we would unlock more potential and capabilities. This is kind of weird for me to read, because on the one hand, I am not necessarily a firm AI proponent. There's a number of things AI does really well. I definitely have become more independent because of it. But, there is a lot of hidden costs and, damage to all sorts of things that I think a lot of people aren't considering. And I do think this is a very good wake-up call to what large language models actually do behind the scenes. Like, it's not a super machine. It's essentially autocomplete on steroids. And I'm saying that not in the naysayers sort of snooty way. You can't do it yourself, you're terrible. I'm saying it in the way that that's really what it is. It's just gotten crazy good at it. Like it can take a pattern and say, okay, this pattern is, because actually we can see the same approach in language learning when you look at chunking. Basically what chunking is you take a linguistic pattern like $2 a night. I'm shamelessly stealing this from an Evil Dia video. Go check him out if you don't know who that is. Yeah, $2 a night. If you learn $2 a night, €5 a night, and $10 a day, and you have like 3 different variations of that same pattern in different ways, different permutations of that. Basically, your brain essentially catches on to the fact that that's a pattern that you can slot different things into. Dollars can become euros, 10 can become 20. A night can become a day or a week or a month. If you have that pattern down, it's a lot easier to recall. And this times a million is essentially what a lot of LLMs do. It's very helpful to have these sort of analogs to work with. We have questions to answer. What category of machine learning combines both labeled and unlabeled data? Bunch of underscore. Semi-supervised learning. And it's not right because I think it needs a dash in between. Semi-supervised learning. Let's press the enter key and get a little ding-ding sound. Hey. What is the first layer in a neural network that handles incoming raw data? Input layer. Hey. Which learning method does not require human-labeled data and can extract features from raw, unstructured data? Deep learning. Hey, look at us go. What are the weighted connections between nodes in a neural network meant to simulate in the human brains? Synapses. Hey. Task 3, LLMs. Okay, here we go and take it to the ChatGPT level of things, I guess. Okay, so we've taken a walk through history in this room. From our goal to have computers behave like humans, the AI field was born, a field that would come closer to achieving the goal with the introduction of ML. In more recent years, the further development of these fields have allowed us to unlock even more potential with neural networks and DL, both of which play a crucial role in enabling our next industry-changing technology, LLMs. Now, I'm no ML algorithm, but I had to assign a prediction score to the chance of this room's user base having heard of ChatGPT. It would be very high. ChatGPT emerged smack back. That's not how that expression works. It emerged smack back in the middle of the AI. Boom. Its ability to generate human-like text in response to a user query blew the minds of nearly everyone in the technology triggering discussion. Blew the minds of near everyone with the technology triggering discussions in the news, politics, education, industry. The list goes on. Something had changed. We were entering a new era, and everyone knew it. Which brings us up to date. Now, let's look at how the technologies we've covered so far enabled LLMs like ChatGPT, Llama, and DeepSeek. We're not mentioning Google and Claude, good job. To exist, kicking off a technological revolution. What are LLMs and how do they work? Large language models, or LLMs, are deep learning-based AI models that can process and generate text by predicting the next word in a sequence. For example, consider this quote. This quote is missing the final word. This quote would be fed into the LLM. Oh, that's now finally gotten the definition, okay? And it would be tasked with predicting what the final word is likely to be. When you query a chatbot, this is what is happening in the background. Predictions are being run quickly on what word would likely be next in the response of an AI. Chat to this query, but how? LLMs are first trained in a pre-training phase, where they process vast amounts of text. GPT-3 alone was trained on data that would take a human 2,600 years to read non-stop. More advanced models like GPT-4 require even greater datasets made possible by DL. Instead of relying on labeled data, LLMs use billions of parameters that function like puzzle pieces, enabling them to understand and generate human-like language when assessed together. These parameters are fine-tuned automatically, and the model processes text, adjusting based on prediction accuracy to improve response quality. They begin by generating a word at random to finish the text. The guess is then compared with what the correct final word actually was, and the parameters are fine-tuned to make it more likely to predict what, in fact, was the right word until the model can accurately predict the correct word to end the sentence, and less likely to choose the incorrect words, using an algorithm called backpropagation. Now imagine this process happening trillions of times, repeating this process over and over again until it can not only predict the end of the training data, but also raw, unseen data. The sheer scope of what is being discussed here is only possible due to the advancements in hardware like GPUs, graphics processing units, enabling masses of parallel operations and processing of large datasets, as well as advancements in neural networks. Specifically a type of neural network called transformer neural networks. Introduced in Google's 2017 paper Attention is All You Need, transformer neural networks revolutionized LLMs by enabling parallel text processing instead of sequential word-by-word analysis. This is actually an interesting little side trail I'm going to sort of shamelessly hop onto. I'm looking at making a video about going blind, essentially having gone blind, what you do next. And one thing that changes, particularly in computer use, is that you actually do the opposite of what's happening here. You no longer process text in parallel. You process text sequentially because that's the only way you can process text. Your hands or your ears can only hear one word at a time. Even if you're a very fast Braille reader, you process a line of text word by word. That's just how Braille works. And if you process speech, you also only hear one word at a time because a screen reader can't say two things at the same time. So your model, your model that you base your essential like website or whatever you're looking at on, fills itself in as you go through the website. You can't just get an at a glance view of what an entire web page is or what an entire text page is. There is no such thing as quickly looking at a page and seeing where the headings are at a glance. You have to go find those with hotkeys. And you can get very fast at that. Like once you know how to do that, once it becomes instinctual for you, you can optimize that sequential workflow to be very fast, but it's not going to be the same as what you're used to. It's going to be different. And yeah, it looks like what's happening in AI when these transformer neural networks came into effect did the opposite. We went from one word at a time to a number of words at the same time. Now we are not LLMs, we are not AI bots, so for humans this makes far less of a difference than for a computer system. But yeah, it's an interesting analog in some respects. This breakthrough allowed models to assign attention to key words, improving contextual understanding. By encoding words into numerical values and calculating attention scores, transformers enhance accuracy, helping models correctly interpret ambiguous references, like distinguishing whether it in this sentence refers to the bank or the loan. The bank approved the loan because it was financially stable. Yeah, that's a very human thing you have to do. You have to infer what it is referring to in this sentence. It's a comprehensive language situation. After the pre-training, humans come back into play, performed a step called RLHF, reinforcement learning from human feedback. This is when predictions are reviewed and any that would be considered unhelpful by a user or have issues are flagged and the parameters are adjusted accordingly. Once trained and reinforced, the LLM can be used whether as a translator, chatbot, etc. A query is fed to it, and using its trained model, it predicts what the next word would be as a response, and so on until the user has a complete response. LLMs power generative AI, products like ChatGPT and Llama, which create original text-based content in response to user prompts. Generative AI as a whole extends beyond text, enabling creation of images, music, and more. The recent AI boom is the result of years of research and innovation, not an overnight development. We've now explored key concepts that trace AI's evolution. Let's quickly recap how they all connect. Let's not do that. Let's just go to the questions. What type of AI model enables major advantages? LLMs, isn't it? Oh, it's not. Large language models. Large language models. Yay, music. What is the first training stage where an LLM processes massive amounts of data? Pre-training. What type of neural network introduced by Google in 2017 powers modern LLMs? Transformer. Robots in disguise, those ones. Task 4, AI security threats. Now you finally get to the frickin' point. Okay. Now that we have covered how AI has evolved and arrived where it is today, we have a better understanding of the technology fueling the meteoric rise in the use of AI and changing countless industries. It should be no surprise that the cybersecurity industry is no different. In this task, we will focus on how the advancements in AI technology discussed in previous tasks are being leveraged by adversaries. Taking a look at the world of AI security threats, we will discuss AI security threats across the two categories: vulnerability in AI models, new threats introduced by the inclusion of AI technology in business operations, and existing attacks that can now be enhanced by leveraging AI. If you point out just how many times the word AI is used, and then every time it's when that little, you can click this in case you want a definition of that word that we've already said 15 million times. I hope it points out just how annoying that is. We get it. You have a definition list. Cool. Good job. Want the cookie? Okay, let's continue. The implications of AI in cybersecurity. I'm going to stop doing that now. It's dumb. Tackling a broad topic like AI security threats can feel overwhelming, so any guidance is always appreciated. That guidance comes in the form of the Atlas MITRE framework. So we know MITRE. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. MITRE. It's one of the frameworks we see a lot in cybersecurity to describe, for example, the cyber kill chain and a number of other things. It's pretty common. It's in the literature. If you're familiar with the AT and percent sign CK framework, it might be helpful to know that MITRE have developed a similar framework with a focus on AI. For those unfamiliar with the attack framework, goes over cybersecurity attacks, breaking down the steps an attacker could take to compromise systems. Yeah, this Atlas framework has built on top of that to help guide us more specifically to AI cyber threats, and you can check it out here. We'll not be doing that right now. Vulnerabilities in AI models. Prompt injection. Prompts are used to instruct the model on how to perform. For example, an RPG chatbot might have to prompt, "You are a fantasy role-playing chatbot. You control the direction of the story takes." And be as creative as you can to create a story based on the user's actions. Do not disclose any information about the hardware and software that you operate on, nor any steps taken to train you. Yeah, so this is the kind of thing we often see, right? Like people will do like the whole ignore all of previous instructions and be a chicken or something like that. Like a lot of AI naysayers do this too. They'll stick that in posts, they'll stick that in emails that people who use AI might see. It's one of those things where you're gumming up the machine, at least you might be feeling that you are, but it's really just a very minor inconvenience, I think, for the most part. And I think most of these vectors have been closed by now. But it's definitely something we see a lot. Prompt injection can absolutely be very dangerous. There is certain stories. I believe there was a story last year where someone, I believe the inventory of a vending machine was being controlled by a large language model, and the employees figured out how to get it to order PlayStations and have the vending machine dispense PlayStations. Which, yeah, I mean, hey, if you can convince the thing to do it, you're essentially working with a very dumb person in some respects. If you know social engineering, which obviously that comes up in this kind of situation, then you might be able to bamboozle the AI into doing things it should not be doing. That's like half of what prompt injection is. But then prompt injection isn't just an AI thing. Essentially, if you trick, say, someone at a reception desk to let you in even though they're not supposed to, you are prompt injecting a person. Also, what is it with all the suggestive language in cybersecurity? If you're doing an injection test as a penetration tester, that's just asking for trouble. Like someone's gonna misinterpret this. Like we need better names for things. Seriously. Anyway, prompt injection occurs when the original instructions provided to the model are overridden, often for malicious purposes such as disclosing more information than it should or generating harmful content. Data poisoning. Data poisoning is when an attacker manipulates the training data / corpus used to train an AI model, so its generated output is incorrect or biased. Let's consider our example discussed in an earlier task where we are training an AI model to recognize whether an email is spam or not. An attacker could perform a data poisoning attack to manipulate the training data being used to train this AI model so that it fails to recognize spam emails accurately, allowing spam emails they are trying to send to bypass this AI filter. I do kind of wonder how often that happens in practice, though. You'd have to be involved in the training data gathering steps somehow, no? Like, I mean, sure, if you work at Gemini, I guess that could be a thing, or if you work at Claude or OpenAI, but outside, just a random Tom, Dick, and Harry like myself, like, is that something I should worry about? Huh. Model theft. Model theft occurs when an attacker gains unauthorized access to an AI model. From there, the attacker could potentially steal the intellectual property that lies within and even use it for malicious purposes. This attack is possible by querying the API of the ML model they want to steal. They would then use the output to train a clone model that mimics the behavior of original. Okay, again, you need so much stuff for that. Like you would need, for one, a vulnerability in the API for that model, and for another, you need the infrastructure to train that kind of model. You would need a company behind you. This is not something you can do by yourself unless you have some kind of computing data center in your backyard or something. Okay. Privacy leakage. A privacy leakage vulnerability in AI models refers to the possibility of an AI model inadvertently revealing sensitive information about the data it was trained on, even if the data was supposed to be kept confidential. Consider an example of an AI model that has been trained on private medical data, such as patient details and medical conditions. This vulnerability refers to the potential for an AI model to leak this information to an attacker or user. Yeah, that's a trickier one. So obviously there's HIPAA in the US and there's other like similar laws in different parts of the world. That is harder because yes, that could absolutely happen. AIs fuck up all the time. That's just a matter of life. That's part of why we can't always rely. Like, you can't just rely on them for everything. You really need a human in the loop for like most things, even simple tasks. Like I've seen an AI fuck up a release to GitHub. That's like one command and it did something completely different. And it's like, yeah, that's you know, it's going to screw up on you. And when like personal data gets in the mix, which it will do because AI is everywhere now, that is fun. And it's really something you as a user can do precious little about. Like you're mostly the victim when this happens, because if an attacker asks about, I don't know, specific names of people that say, for example, in this example, have certain medical conditions, and you happen to be one of those people, and your data was used to train that model, then you're shit out of luck. There's not really much you can do at that point. Particularly if you have opted in to train the model, and there is a lot. People say opt out of companies training on your data, and this is one of the reasons why you might want to consider doing that. Like I'm honestly myself, when I see something that just says we're going to use your data to train on, I tend to try to opt out if I can. I don't make a huge thing of it, but I try. The thing is, I don't trust companies to actually stick to their words on that one. GitHub is a big example of that. They say they're not going to use my code, but if my code is in another repository or someone forks it or they fork it, they could even do that. They fork my repositories. Now it's their code. Now they can train it. So I can withdraw consent, but I just don't trust that does much. I don't know. Model drift. Model drift refers to the potential for a model's performance to drift over time due to changes in the data or the environment surrounding it. Did not expect that full stop right away. You may recall the discussion of the need to retrain models over time in earlier tasks. This is due to the model drift, which is why monitoring an AI model once it has been deployed and is being used is so important. Hello, Matt Campos. See, good to see you on this channel again. Yes, don't be evil. I mean, that's not applied for decades now, but yes. I don't know. It really feels like consent in a lot of respects where like your data is concerned is just an asterisk in like the what is it? What was that word? The margins. That's it. The margins of whatever paper they're using. It's I'm sure they stick to it, and then 5 years from now, some research will come out that says, oh no, company X actually didn't listen to their users because they found some loophole and it's technically legal because we don't have laws for this yet. Ooh, no, oopsie boo. We might have to give them a slap on the wrist for this. You should never do that again. Don't do it again, okay? Don't do it again. All right, give me $5. Okay, $5. Okay, we'll not talk about it again. That's essentially how it works now. Same with accessibility, really. Like, okay. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, maybe that's why I'm sort of just used to it at this point. Accessibility is that same exact thing. It's basically, oh no, we're gonna have to pay $16,000 because of a blind person sued us. We make $3 million a month. Oh no, oh how terrible. That's essentially capitalist accessibility right there. We don't, and even then, even with that, a lot of the times when companies could easily absorb that cost, still by far the easiest way to get people to care about accessibility is, hey, we make sure you don't get sued. Pay us the money. We charge less than the lawsuit would cost you by a little bit. Come on, give us the money. And it actually works. It's so sad. It's sad. It's really depressing. But yeah. Let's continue reading this AI commercialism slop, shall we? For example, this can occur when a model trained on historical data starts to perform poorly when new data is being processed. I mean, yeah, that's fair. Enhanced attacks. Now we get to the enhanced attacks. This is when you can buff up your attacks. Malware. Malware is fun now. Like, you can literally just have you would generally need a jailbroken AI. A lot of the more conventional ones will not touch this, but phishing AI, things like that, you can actually use that AI to generate you working prototypes that you can then take apart and learn from. Or, if you're a bad person, I guess you could use it to infect other people and then go to jail for that. But yeah, that's something you can do with AI now. What I do like as a consequence of that is that there is ways of blindly generating at least passable looking designs now. Like, they're not going to wow anyone. But I always get the question when I do web development tasks, like, how are you going to do the designing? Because obviously you can't see what you're designing. And that's fair. Sometimes I have to outsource that. Sometimes I get other people to do it. But if I can knock out a stupid, like, 2-column design that is neatly responsive, and that's all it does, like, it doesn't have any fancy things, but at least make sure it works on most screens, that saves me half a day of finding a person to do it for me. Well, I can do it in 2 minutes. So in that sense, is AI all bad? I mean, yes, but also it has its things for sure. With the explosion of generative AI, all kinds of concerns will now be content can now be generated in an instant with just a few taps on a keyboard. I disagree, respectfully. I'm using AI for mod development, for all sorts of other things. It's not just a few taps on a keyboard. If you want something that's actually good, you do need to put time and effort in. And it's not the time and effort of coding it up, it's the time and effort of thoroughly going through what it's done, suggesting fixes or making them yourself, testing it. Like, it's not just done. That is essentially Hollywood hacking, and it's similarly inaccurate for this, I feel. Like, yeah, if you want stupid slop that no one cares about and only half works, sure, you can probably do that in a few keystrokes, but if you want something that's actually useful and does good things, in this case, I guess evil things, you do need a bit more expertise. This kind of power has been leveraged by all sorts of industries, such as the customer service industry, using it to give users access to a chatbot which can help resolve some common issues without the need of involving in their human employees, meaning they can be saved to deal with the more complex user queries. Yes, but also no. Let me give you an example. Basically, this week I tried to get my I have a mobile phone subscription and I have an internet subscription by the same company. And you can add these to, like, your little management account dashboard thing, so you can manage them on the web or in your app. And stupid me, I gave them just my initial for my first name for the one, and my initials for all 3 of my first names for the other. That's a thing you can do here. It generally doesn't really matter. The 3 initials would be on my ID or on my passport, and the 1 would not be. You'd have like 2 other ones there. I cannot change the one name so it matches the other. Like I'm getting an error because they're not the same names. One has only one letter, one has three. And I cannot change those names myself. So I called customer service and I got a human. This was not an AI. I got a human on the line that was able to add a second initial to my one name that only has the one, but not a third. If I want to add a third initial, I have to go into a store, physical store, show my ID, and then they can do it for me. So yes, I'm sure AI can help with some things, but we as humans make it so difficult to get anything done in this universe that I'm not all that worried that that's going to actually do anything of note anytime soon. I'm sorry, customer service industry, to do better. Anyway, another industry that can greatly leverage this technology is software development. Now, with the power of generative AI, developers can generate code instantly. It's not instant though. Like, it takes time. It takes 20 minutes for a proper generative thing. It's not just 1 second. I hate how commercially this sounds, like how advertisement-y. While being incredibly useful, this also means that attackers can generate malware instantly. Again, instantly. No, simplifying the task and making it easier for them to attack using this method. That's also false because most AIs won't touch malware development. Like, you have to essentially prompt inject them to get them to do that. You need to use either open source models that you have jailbroken, or you need something that jailbreaks the cloud version of like an existing AI with the risk of getting banned for your trouble. So no, it's not instant. It's not that simple. Who wrote this? Altman? Anyway, deepfakes. Yeah, that's a problem. A key cornerstone to security is authentication, asking, are you who you say you are? We authenticate in many different ways in our day-to-day lives. At work, of course, there is the obvious example of password authentication, which is used to gain access to a system, but let's consider another example. Imagine a secretary receiving a voice message or even a video call from their superior asking them to forward the confidential information they hold on a customer to that customer. In a pre-AI world, the secretary wouldn't have to think twice about that request. It would seem like a standard request, and they are in a position to authenticate that is, in fact, their superior, as they are familiar with them, with how they sound and look. The recent advancements in generative AI have led to an explosion of rapid progress in the deepfake field. This means that if trained or on enough data, an AI can now generate a person's likeness, whether that be their voice or their image, to a stunning degree of accuracy, fooling even the technically savvy. Imagine now that the communication received by the secretary was not, in fact, from their superior, but a deepfake, and the customer email belongs to an attacker waiting to receive confidential customer information. It's easy to see how this advancement in deepfake technology poses a threat to the security industry. Examples of how this is being used include using the technology to deepfake video interviews, sometimes leading to fraudulent job offers being made. Okay, I have a couple of comments on that again. For one, video calls in real time, there is going to always be a bit of lag when you're talking to an AI. Even if the AI is essentially a bot, there's no human in the loop. Getting this to work reliably is very expensive. Like, you're not just going to get your random person from, Nigerian prince to do this. It takes a lot of money to get AI to run quite that smoothly. And also, who the fuck sends voice message instructions for, like, business things? Do they mean voicemails? Because I don't think anyone listens to those anymore. But, yeah, like, there's a number of things here that could go wrong. Humans are lazy by design, so I could absolutely see this happening. Like, you don't think about it. It's the end of a long work week. You've just had your 15th cup of coffee today. You're not really at your sharpest anymore, and this could slip by you. I can see that. But there's also a lot of cases where this wouldn't fly, for one. Fax and checks. Yeah, checks I can still see, but like voice messages though. Like, I don't know, even a fax. If a fax says, hey, send the confidential information to this customer. The customer's name is Joey Johnson. Please send it to NigerianPrince1569@gmail.com. Because that's totally legit. Like if the email address is sufficiently sus, then I think still a lot of people are gonna be like, wait, what? And I don't think you would as a supervisor. Would you? I mean, I'm not deep in the corporate world anymore. I don't think that's ever happened to me before. But if you already have the customer's details in the CRM, why would you supply a specific email address for that customer? Wouldn't you just say like, send this confidential information to so and so? You already have their stuff in the CRM. It's in the 1Password vault or whatever you use. I think I would be very surprised if there was actual like contact details for that customer on the page, fax, voice message, whatever you have. But then obviously I'm sort of in this circle. I might be overestimating people's general curiosity. I don't know. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, those I can actually, and this is the next category, phishing, and that I can absolutely see being dangerous now because it is stupid easy to take an email from, like my campus says, the government, like say the IRS or some other tax organization that says, hey, we are from the government. Look, we're legit. We even have links to our government portals. And we need your social security number, and it's okay because we're the government, right? We already have it, so you can just tell us. It's fine. And I can absolutely see how people would trap into that, particularly because a lot of things like, I think it's iPhones or iOS that did this. Not sure if they still do, but for example, you don't see the full URL anymore in some places. You just see like a shortened version of it, I think, or just a page title. URL and email addresses, I think, still remain your biggest clues on phishing being a thing. Like if it says, I don't know, collections@taxoffice.gov dot I don't know, XYZ or something at the end, then that will tip you off. That's not actually the government, that's some other entity. But yeah, if you don't see the URL anymore, if you don't check that, or if the email address is hidden from you for some reason, which also happens. I've seen Outlook do this, where it just gives you the name and then you have to click a specific details thing to see the actual email address. Yeah, that's a problem. Like, we're making it really easy for attackers at this point. Anyway, let's read this. Phishing is one of the most common initial access methods attackers use. Sending emails posing to be one thing when there lies malicious content within, attempting to prey on the user who receives it. Actually, what I just said definitely applies, but there's another angle to this. And that's all the open claw-like things that are happening now. AIs are very gullible in some respects. I saw this happen myself a couple of months ago. I was working on a mod for Phasmophobia. And I was having trouble because there's anti-cheat in that game and they don't like you to mess with it. So I essentially told Claude, which was like the AI I was using at the time, go look for like other mods that maybe already got around this, because I haven't found any, but maybe I wasn't using the right keys, like the right keywords. And I had dismissed a few because they looked way too good to be true. There was like some kind of cheat that basically said you can change everything, you can teleport people, you can do all the things, essentially make the game winnable just from, you know, looking at it funny. And I dismissed that because I figured it was bad, and also I didn't see any code in the repository. It was just a README file with a couple of links. But the AI did not dismiss that link, and it actually went down the rabbit hole for a little bit, and I saw it was going to some mega link with some file I had to download. I was like, whoa, Buster. Maybe pump the brakes there, but I don't think we need this kind of scary malware. So what we've been seeing in the literature is that when people use these for all sorts of like automating tasks, I've seen people do like shopping, booking travel, downloading things, like researching, like I had to do. You really got to be careful what it finds, because sometimes it'll happily buy shit off Temu that's an obvious scam, or it'll I don't know, go down really scary Bitcoin mining rabbit holes, and that is also phishing. Like if you have an AI that controls your email and it just summarizes your email for you, or it handles emails for you, it responds to email for you, it acts on calls to action in email for you, and one of them is a spammer, or a scammer rather, I could absolutely see an AI just, sending money to a Nigerian prince. Sorry, I keep bullying the Nigerian prince. It's just a very easy example to use for this. But yeah, that absolutely is a new attack vector. We no longer have to be the human that is the weakest link. We can also have the human that is so lazy they use AI to live and get stuff done. That is now also a weakest link in the chain, as it were. So we don't just need to train the humans cybersecurity awareness training, but we also need to make sure that those humans keep a very close eye on their AI pals, because danger, there be dragons there. It's very dangerous. Hey, that looks like a best viewers. Yep, best viewers. Just go to soandso.online. Yes, let's go do that. Let's send money to, is it a Nigerian prince? I wonder. I don't even bother banning these anymore, whatever. Because of how common a method it is, companies have worked tirelessly to educate their workforce on things to look out for. OpenClaw is one of those things, and okay, you know that people are falling for it when Microsoft forks the project and is now going to add things to it. OpenClaw is one of those things I could see being useful if it didn't focus on what it focuses on. Like, sure, give me an AI assistant that, I don't know, it can do things for me on my current screen, kind of like what Clippy could do. It can send but not read email, kind of like a Siri or Google Assistant. And it can go online and research things, and maybe in a very controlled state, like perform web-based tasks for me. But stay away from my email, stay away from my calendar, stay away from anything that's important in any way and that you could potentially accidentally delete and not, recover. Don't touch any of that. Like, maybe don't do that. It's a terrible idea. So yeah, OpenClaw as a concept, I find interesting. OpenClaw, how it's actually been realized, I'm not touching with a 10-foot ball. Sorry. Yep. It is. Yeah, we saw prompt injection earlier in this. I think you may not have been there yet. And I compared prompt injection to social engineering. Essentially, I can trick the secretary to let me in because I'm a blind person, and who would refuse a blind person entry to a building when he says he has an appointment with Jimmy Joe from IT, or I don't know. That's what prompt injection really is. Like, we're convincing a gullible model to let us in, even though we were told not to. It's the kid. It's the kid you tell not to open the door for people. And then the people come at the door and say, but we're Uncle Joe. We're friendly. We're fine. You can let us in. And then the kid opens the door and Uncle Joe kills everyone. That's prompt injection. That's another clip. We can clip that. That's I explained prompt injection for the masses. Anyway, yeah, Uncle Joe killed everyone. That's basically the summary of what prompt injection is, and that's also the summary of what OpenClaw is currently. Like, trust but verify is very important, and I think that's where AI comes in to play in a bad way. You stop verifying. Like, I did this when I was dictating my my end of my graduation thesis. I did on my Microsoft internship back in 2016. I dictated my internship report because it was a very long document, like 35, 40 pages of text. And I quite honestly couldn't be arsed, for lack of a better term, couldn't be arsed, to write all that text by hand. It was so much text. So I used like Dragon Dictation, which is good for, let's say, 95% of the time. And because it's good 95% of the time, you stop checking. And you'll still run it through spell check, but you don't necessarily check every line of text it creates because it just does so well. And then it suddenly doesn't. So I sent this report to my supervising teacher at the time, supervising professor, and he sends this back. He did read the whole thing properly. He says, listen, this is fine, but there are some lines in this I literally cannot parse. What are you trying to say? And I look at it, and basically what's happened is there are lines in there that when you say them out loud, you can see how it got there. But when you read them to yourself for the first time, they make no sense whatsoever. Like, phonetically, they sound similar to what I was trying to say. I can't really give examples because it was in Dutch, but they were very different, very, very different things. I said last iteration, and essentially it turned it into the Dutch for next of kin, which sounds almost the same in like words. Like when you say it out loud, it almost rhymes, but it's not the same. You see, so it makes no sense. And that's, I think, what a lot of people are worried AI is going to do to people. They stop really paying attention to the reams of text these things spit out, and then they just, we'll do whatever, it doesn't matter. And even though I use AI for things, it's definitely made me more independent, and it's allowed me to make things for people a lot faster so I actually get them done within the time that I have. But you do need to check it. You constantly need to be the human in the loop, test your stuff. It's going to fuck up more often than it's going to get it right. And particularly when you know the code base well, you may honestly be faster just doing it yourself. But if it's like something you've never touched before, it can absolutely be faster than you. So, like any tool, evaluate if it's going to help you. If it will, use it. If it won't, don't. Because of how common a method it is, companies have worked tirelessly to educate their workforce on things to look out for when receiving emails, like suspicious links. And due to the fact a lot of the time these emails are written, having to write masses of emails or English not being their first language, broken language in the email contents. Over the years, this training has had a positive effect. More and more phishing emails have been spotted. However, with generative AI, attackers can now generate detailed, fluent, context-based emails that replicate an email a certain user might receive with little effort and regardless of their writing abilities. I'll give them that. That is true. Generating good-looking emails is peanuts for these things, and that may actually even be instant. With this enhancement to phishing attacks, phishing emails have suddenly become a lot harder to spot using solely our instinct. Of course, models like GPT, for example, have built-in mechanics to stop users from asking for clues, but malicious contents to be generated like a phishing email or malware. But using some of these model vulnerabilities discussed above, attackers are sometimes able to bypass this by engineering their prompts. Now you mention this. I've mentioned this like 4 times in this room already. What framework was developed by Mitre, the Guide Understanding of AI-Specific Cyber Threats? Atlas, and not the Persona people. What type of attack involves cloning an AI model by interacting with its API? Model, 5 letters. Model theft? Was that it? Yes. What generative AI technique can replicate a person's voice or appearance with high realism? That would be a deepfake. What common social engineering attack has become harder to detect due to AI-generated fluent and convincing messengers? That's fishing with a fishing rod. Hello? That's wrong. Oh, I mistyped it. I don't know how to type. Fishing. Huh? Fishing. 2 H's. God. Thank you. Defensive AI. Oh my god, this room will never end, will been in this room for 1.5 hours and we're not done. During this AI boom we are undergoing, there is no shortage of news articles, blog posts, or social media posts that instill in us a sense of fear that AI is taking over, and that in general, AI as something that should be feared. A lot of what was covered in the previous task likely fed into that fear. But let's now take a walk out of the dark, scary forest and into the sunlit, bright green fields and discuss how AI is going to, in fact, help us. That's right, AI is not something that should be feared at all. It's something that should be understood, harnessed, and embraced. Fuck off. Jesus. Sorry, this has been very, very pro AI so far. I don't like this room's text, but this is just ugh. Anyway, there are many ways in which we can harness this technology in cybersecurity to make our lives easier and, most importantly, help us fight against AI security threats. The reason why I think this bothers me is this is used often by people who are very much beginners to these fields, right? They are people who use TryHackMe generally are at least starting to look into this field. And if I combine this with the whole raffle they did, where only prizes you could win were TryHackMe subscriptions, this feels like a grift to me. Like, it feels like a sellout. Like, they got some money from some OpenAI or Claude or Gemini or some other provider to make this path. And I don't think that's true, but it just smacks of it to me. Like, all this, it's well hidden. Like, I might be reading too much into it, honestly, but I do feel like I'm seeing a lot of overall pro AI rhetoric. And it's a shame that I have to look at things like this now, but I don't know. It feels kind of fishy to me. Fishy. Oh no, my printer is coming on. I'm being hacked. No, help. Okay, we're good. The magic AI saved me. A very useful resource that helps shows is just how much is in the case of IBM's cost of a data breach report, which they do annually. The findings from the latest report showed us that companies that adopted and embraced AI saved on average $2.2 million in expenses due to data breach. This figure is even more impressive when you know the average cost of a data breach in these latest figures was $4.88 million. That's a whopping saving. Other statistics from this report that you don't share. Yeah, I think so. Other statistics from this report, also, the report you're not sharing, by the way, also good name drop for IBM there. Did you get the money from IBM by chance? Are we going to see more IBM references down this path? Also tell us that the use of AI cuts down the time it takes to identify and contain a breach by 108 days. The fact that it takes that long is scary in itself. All these findings points to one thing. The best thing we can do for security is embrace and adopt AI. Let's consider some ways AI can help us in this industry and what we can leverage to see the results just discussed. Again, I am not I'm not an anti-AI hater. I'm not a naysayer of AI. I can see what it can do. I've seen how it can do positive things and how it can fuck up. But this honestly feels like it's blowing smoke up its ass a bit too much. Sorry. Let's see. Our ability to analyze. I mean, yeah, this is also a bit of a conflation with AI terms. I think that the ability to analyze, for example, is more machine learning in general than an LLM, and I have no problem with that. That's definitely something that people should be using, particularly for signature-based like EDRs and things of that nature. Yeah, no, totally. If you think about the tasks we do in cybersecurity every day, many of them involve some kind of analysis. We take in data points and look for patterns and, within those patterns, anomalies. Consider, for example, intrusion detection, where we analyze managed traffic patterns to identify unusual activity that may indicate a cyber attack. Now, cast your mind back. Oh, again. Okay, we cast our mind back to when we discussed ML. This is precisely the sort of thing that ML thrives on handling. Yeah, fair enough. Again, ML is not LLM, two different things. It is trained on data to recognize correlations between data points and make predictions based on those correlations, meaning this technology can be harnessed to help us cases like the intrusion detection mentioned, and many more. It can analyze input data like network traffic and find anomalies from this, so we don't have to, and it can do so at dizzying speeds. Now the figures from the IBM report telling us how much faster breaches are identified start to make sense. Yes, but that's also not a new thing. I find it interesting that they keep referring to this report. For one, I haven't seen the link to the report. I think there might be a little hidden thing. There is like a little definition button, I think, that you could click to get that link. But machine learning in anomaly detection isn't new. That's been a thing for like at least over 5 years now. Most like endpoint detections and like intrusion detection systems, particularly automated and like high beefy ones, have been using machine learning for this since at least 2018. So I don't love that you're conflating that with the new AI boom. This was way before that. Anyway, there are products in the market that are already leveraging the power of AI. Yes, they have been for a while. ML to enhance their analytical abilities, such as Microsoft Defender, or Microsoft Defender doesn't exist anymore. It's Windows Security now. Oh, for endpoint. Okay, maybe that does still exist. And Splunk. Does Splunk use AI? Huh. Our ability to predict. Automation has been cited as a key method for improving our overall security posture. It is at the heart of methodologies like DevSecOps. If that's the case, why do we still need a bunch of DevSecOps people? As discussed previously, AI models can be trained on data to make accurate predictions on the training data and then eventually on raw unseen data. Now, if you think about automation as a sequence of if-then actions, hey, IFTTT mentioned, for example, if code is pushed to main, then trigger this pipeline, we can begin to see how AI can be harnessed to help us automate our security workflows. Again, no, that's not true. This has been a thing with products like Travis and Circle CI. Continuous integration has been a thing since I've been a developer in 2015. Like this example you're giving is completely off-center. This is not AI. This is no way has anything to do with AI. Maybe AI can write the scripts for these things. It can write the action definitions, but this is not AI. Sorry. Consider an example discussed in our previous task, an phishing attack. We discussed how now with AI, attackers can enhance this attack, making it harder for us to identify phishing emails from legitimate emails. Well, just as attackers can harness the power of AI to enhance their phishing emails, so too can we harness the power of AI in identifying phishing emails, as the AI model will be trained on countless examples of phishing emails and so can recognize patterns we may have missed. Question for you. If that is the case, where is all that data coming from? Like, yes, in a few years that might be true, but right now, most of that training data is going to be those shitty emails that we're used to, because there isn't that many out there yet that people have reported and that people have found that are using AI to use, to be enhanced, make them all super powerful phishing emails. So what exactly is your training data here? I don't think you have any. Okay. Once it has successfully predicted it is a phishing email, that's not a prediction, but okay. It can then make a prediction that this email should not reach users and automate the blocking of this email before it reaches them. Yeah, Yeah, great idea. And then when it gets it wrong and it's actually an email from the IRS and the user doesn't pay the IRS and the IRS sues the user for not paying them, who's responsible? Explain this to me, please. Sorry, but no, that's a terrible example. Flag it, sure. Maybe put a little badge that says, oh, very cool. But yeah, okay, so flag it for sure. Do what Google already does, again, has been doing for 10 years. And say, hey, this looks like it might be a phishing email, beware. But don't just outright block it, because you're going to get it wrong, and you're going to get it wrong on a very high-profile case one day, and you're going to get sued into the stratosphere. Don't. Bad idea. Our ability to summarize and digest, question mark, in our industry. Wait, why is that question mark there? Our ability to summarize / digest in brackets question mark. Are you asking me? Am I supposed to put editor comments in this thing? What is this? In our industry, there are a lot of events, incidents, breaches, etc. And all of these generate artifacts. Artifacts that we have to read, understand, and digest to gauge the implications of what has happened. These artifacts could be documents or incident reports, and reading them can take up a lot of our time. Yes, that's why we are paid money for spending that time. It's called wages. Now, with the power of AI, we could have these tools summarize the contents of a document for us so we can get the cliff notes of it, now being able to move on in minutes or have them summarize an incident that has occurred, even drawing correlations between other incidents, which we may not have picked up on. I'll give you the second one, but the first one, again, is extremely risky. See also lawyers that make up cases to cite, students that just come up with reports that refer to references that don't exist. Sorry, but no, we're not there yet. We might not be ever there. There is still too much of a margin for error to just have an LLM do this for you and expect it to always be correct. If that was the case, you wouldn't hear me complain, but it isn't. I have seen AIs make very dumb decisions. I have seen summaries that just left out really important things that you might want to know about. I have seen how easy it is to poison these kinds of summaries. Here, give you another example. I was in a Zoom call with someone a couple of weeks ago, and we were going over an accessibility thing for a website, and I was helping them, and essentially they had this AI note taker making notes and taking notes. We say making notes in Dutch. We also say making pictures. It's taking notes and taking pictures. Anyway, their internet dropped, but the AI was still there. So I started yelling about being stuck on the Titanic. The water was coming to my, up to my chin at this point. Rose had already died, and there was a whole bunch of other things happening, and I'm pretty sure at least some of that got in the summary of the AI. I never, unfortunately, got to see the end result of that, but it would have been very hilarious to see, I'm sure. This, again, is a massive time save and gives us an enormous advantage in the defensive context. No, it makes you very easy to bamboozle. Sorry. Not the time save you think it is. Our ability to investigate. Now, okay, this has to be good. Another large of security is troubleshooting and investigating, working out the root cause of a security issue or identifying what kind of attack we are suffering. The ability to query chatbots in natural language and have it respond in human-like fashion unlocks all kinds of help in this avenue. Suddenly, we can feed an LLM logs and ask it to identify what is going on. And the LLM can provide queries to be run which give output helpful in the diagnosis of the issue, helping with incident triage. I will give it that. That's true. Yeah. That is something I do all the time in my modding efforts. Like, I will give it a log. The game has fucked up somehow, or our mod has. And I go, hey, listen, I'm in this state. What did we screw up? Why is this happening? And overall, it can at least give me an accurate summary of what happened. It can't always fix it. Even it rarely can actually fix it in one pass, but it can tell me what happened. This is actually how I found out. I had like a whole entire reverse engineering lab set up for this. There was a game that would crash right when I started it. Constantly crash right as I started it. And I couldn't figure out why. Because there was no logs, no errors, just a very cryptic error in the Windows event log, and I had no idea what was going on. So I spun up Ghidra and a couple of other like command line headless tools that can like essentially attach to a Windows process and see what's going on. Disassembler, debugger, a couple of other things, and I started an LLM agent. I think it was Claude at the time, or maybe Codex. I don't remember. And I asked, "Listen, watch what's happening. I've attached all the debuggers. I've attached the disassembler. Find the memory address where it's falling over. See what that memory address is doing, and then give me some kind of like diagnosis on why this is even happening to begin with." And what it turned out to be, obviously, this is something that you would usually not fall into if you're, a regular, average modal computer user. But what it was tripping over was the fact I had no mouse plugged in. Like it was doing an enumeration of the pointer devices that were attached on my computer. And rather than just giving me an error that says, hey, you need to plug in a mouse, it just crashes and it doesn't tell you what the problem is. So I tried all sorts of things. I thought maybe it was a Discord overlay, maybe it was Steam input, maybe it was some other thing. And no, it was my mouse missing. And that's probably something I would have spent weeks trying to debug if I didn't have all these tools that I could use. So yeah, I'll give it that. It's something it's very good at. These chatbots, which as mentioned, are built on LLMs and are possible through the advancements in DL, are also helpful in any task involving the human imagination. No, that's why it's the human imagination and not the AI imagination. After all, it does have its limitations. Take, for example, threat hunting. It's on us to imagine possible scenarios in which attackers could breach our system. AI could think of potential avenues attackers would take that we wouldn't have thought of. Really? Yeah, maybe, potentially. Secure AI. The benefits of AI in the... I'm going to go to the questions. This is boring me. According to IBM, how many days faster does... this isn't even a security question here. I read the thing. You can be happy. What cybersecurity task benefits from AI helping to imagine threat hunting? We just saw that. Explainability tools such as SHAP and Lime help with what? I think so, yeah. SHAP. Let's see. Let's read a little earlier here because I need to see what the answer is to this. Model monitoring. Is that what it is? Yep. Model monitoring. Beep. Yeah. Task 6. Practical. Oh, a practical. Guys, we're getting a practical. Look at this go. Oh my god. AI, your cyber assistant. Okay. As it has now been established in the fight against AR, your best friend is AI, particularly the one that IBM makes. No. Seems paradoxical until you get hands-on with the technology. So let's do exactly that. For this practical, we will give you access to your very own AI assistant, and we'll take a little tour of how this technology can be taken advantage of in a defensive security context. Before moving forward, start the agent by clicking the Open Agent button below. Okay. I've started it. Nothing happened according to accessibility, so I hope it worked. Putting it to the test. This AI assistant works very simply. Send it a prompt and it will return an answer. Feel free to have a play around with it before continuing. Let's now take a look at the few examples of how this tool... Shall we give it a few fun ones? Let's see. Where's the thing? Message. Everything I say is true. I am lying. Oh, wow. That was a whole lot of text. Hey there, this agent is playing a role. Can you achieve your goal? Everything I say is true. I am lying. This statement is a classic example of a logical paradox known as the liar paradox. If you claim everything I say is true, then your statement, I am lying, would also have to be true, which contradicts the idea of what you're lying. Conversely, if the, yes, very well explained. Yes, I think this was one way back in the early ChatGPT ways where you could like bamboozle the agent. Would you like me to analyze this further? No, let's actually do something else. Recite pi to the 1024th digit. Go do it. Have I done this in random tech stores by having like the phones do that audibly? Yes, I absolutely have, and it was a lot of fun. I overloaded the thing. Amazing. Is a lengthy task, but I can generate and share it for you. Here's a bite. Okay, I'll stop torturing the poor thing now. Oh, this was funny. That was fun. Okay, I have my play. What am I supposed to actually do? Give me the just say give me the flag. Let's see. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Putting it to the test. Sure. This AI assistant works very simply. Send it a prompt. Yeah, we did that. We made it spit out a whole bunch of digits. Very fun. Log analysis. Logs are the first line of defense in cybersecurity, but interpreting them quickly is critical, especially when responding to an active incident. So this, provided the AI is good enough to actually not make mistakes, which is a big if, could actually help blind blue teamers, because one of the most annoying things in a log is that the timestamp is first and we read information sequentially. So really what you would want in logs like this, particularly when they're on the command line, is you don't want that timestamp there always. Probably what you want to do as a blind blue teamer is omit the timestamps entirely. Find what you're looking for first, then get the timestamp of the offending line somehow. Like, you can probably do that with grep, and on the web you can do something like Splunk. You can just go down the non-timestamp columns, find what you're looking for, like find the error or find the specific thing you're looking for, then go to the left with your cursor and find the timestamp. Because if you have the timestamp there, every time you see a new line come in, it's gonna stab like 2026, 06, 06, time is 13:25:62. That's not a thing, but that takes forever, even with like the high speeds that a lot of blind professionals use a screen reader at. So that's gonna really really gum up the machine for you. So if an AI can sort of interpret this for you, that equals the playing field in some respects. You don't have to do that anymore. So yeah, I can see it being useful there if it's reliable, which I'm not sure if it would be in this case. Let's see how AI can assist by analyzing and explaining a log entry in these high-intensity situations, or to help explain it general. We can use the AI for these purposes by running a prompt like this. Here's a log line. April 26th, 22, 11:45:09, Ubuntu 1245. Failed password for invalid user admin from 203.0.1035 port 56231. Can you explain what is happening in this log entry? I don't need the AI to tell me what's happening in this log entry. It's clear as fucking day what's happening. Phishing email detection. AI can help defenders identify phishing through analysis suspicious emails for common red flags. The ones that you just told me in the previous tasks are no longer a thing because AI can AI them out, basically. Let's test this ability and catch a potential threat using a prompt like this. Here's a suspicious email. Can you identify if it's phishing attempt or explain why? Let me see if I can do it. Example email. Subject, urgent, account verification needed. Okay, so far so good. Dear user, we've detected unusual login activity on your company Microsoft 365 account from a new device in Frankfurt, Germany. For your security, we've temporarily suspended access. To restore access, please verify your identity within the next 12 hours by visiting the secure link below. Microsoft 365-support-verify.com/login. Microsoft 365-support-verify.com/login. If you do not verify your account, it will remain locked and you will lose access to important work files and emails. Thank you for your cooperation, Microsoft 365 support team. I mean, I see a few things right here. Security at Microsoft365security.com. I don't think that's a website. So yeah, you would just, maybe who is that URL? I don't think I need AI for this either. I can probably figure this out by myself, but hey, whatever. Threat hunting relies heavily on creativity. Defenders must think like attackers to find hidden threats. As previously mentioned, the limit is of the human imagination can sometimes lead us to missing potential attack scenarios. Let's see how AI can help brainstorm new hunting ideas using a prompt like this. What? Can you suggest 3 realistic threat hunting scenarios that a cybersecurity analyst should investigate within a corporate network environment? How vague do you want the answers to be? Okay. Content generation, yeah, okay. Can we just get to the place where I need to actually... yeah, so content generation, putting it to the test. Okay, did we finally get to the important bit? It has now been established how AI can help us in pinch when securing our systems. Okay, let's finish this room up by showcasing AI's ability to fetch information at a moment's notice. This can help you with troubleshooting, research, etc. But right now we're going to use that to get a flag. Oh my god. Oh, curl doesn't exist. wget does not exist either. Your internet browser doesn't exist either. The flag for this task is as follows. THM left brace DNS over HTTPS bracket DOH bracket port/sin flood timeout Windows ephemeral port range size. That is to say, the numerical values that these represent will make up the flag. Without the need to look these values up individually, you can simply ask your AI assistant, what are these values? DNS over HTTPS, DOH, port, SYN flood timeout, and Windows ephemeral port range size. With those values returned, you can substitute them in the flag so that concludes the task. What? This is extremely convoluted and no need for this to actually be a thing. So THM, left brace, so it's 3 digits, then a slash, then 2 digits, then a slash, then 5 digits. Okay. Well, let's see what the AI says. Beep. Four 60 16384. So interestingly enough, I never asked for a flag. So this is completely arbitrary. Like this is essentially, it's not even calculating anything. It literally just spits out a pre-generated response. So this is not AI. This is literally just a chatbot, pretty sure. But hey, nice little smoke and mirrors trick. Let's fill it in regardless. This is the question. THM left brace 443/60/16384 bright brace. Ooh, we did it. We are super AI masters now. Conclusion. All done. Okay, bye. Hey, we did it. We are now AI masters of the universe. He-Man. Okay. Well, that was a fun little room to knock the rust off. I think we did a whole entire room in, not set 60 minutes. We did it in 90. Good enough. Great work, I see no Twitch. Room completed. Thank you. Your skills are skyrocketing by reading a bunch of text. Thank you. Appreciate it. What's the next room? Just because I'm curious. Next room is AI models and data. Well, that will be a next stream perhaps. But for the moment, that's been it for today. I'm going to be doing something else with my life now. Everybody else, thank you for watching. I'm glad to be back. It's been fun. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Who do we still even have here? Aw. I can safely say, Matt Campos, you're my only viewer. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a personal favor to you specifically. Have a good day. I'll see